always thought that leadership is about climbing a ladder. I've always believed that it's a position that I could get promoted to. And this is the reason why in corporate, I used to rub shoulders with my boss. I want to be the leader. I want to be at the top. I want to be promoted. My early exposure with leaders are those politicians who come into gatherings 2 hours late just for them to give their 15 to 30 minute speech with everybody waiting for them. They get the best seats in front. They get all the talking, and they're surrounded with people, surrounded with bodyguards. That's how I thought leaders are. That could not have been farther from the truth. Now that I'm old enough, I realize that that's not leadership at all. Leadership is about being the servant of all. In fact, in the gospel, in the book of Mark 10 verse 43, Jesus said, if you want to be the greatest in the kingdom, if you want to be the greatest of all, you need to be the servant of all. If you're a leader, you don't expect people to serve you. You are expected to serve. So you want to be the leader? Stop expecting to be served. In fact, start serving now. However, to truly lead, you need to know where you are going. And nobody wants to follow somebody who doesn't know where he is going. So a leader has to know where he is going. And we are reminded that in the book of Proverbs 29 verse 18, it says, where there is no revelation, people cast off restraint. If the leader doesn't have the anointing, doesn't have the wisdom, people will be lost. The Bible is probably the oldest source of all these principles. And this was written 2,000 years ago. A lot of books have been written about this. John Maxwell is one of them. It's the best source of wisdom, even for leadership. And so a leader has to be very clear with where he is going. He has to have a vision. And the thing is, we can only see what God allows us to see. And therefore, as a leader, we need to connect ourselves to God, because this is where we get the vision. This is where we get the clarity that can help us lead. Now that you're ready to serve, and now you have a vision, the next step is to assemble your team. So the question is, what kind of people do you want to bring in your team? In the books of Exodus 18 verse 21, God gave Moses the criteria on what kind of people they need to choose. He said, select capable men. And how does God define capable men? He said, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands and hundreds and fifties. You need to surround yourselves with people who are trustworthy, who are not dishonest. So if you do the opposite, that's going to be the downfall. So in the business, you don't build a business. You build people and then empower the people to build the business. You find good people, you find trustworthy people, and you build a business around them. Character is very important. Competence is something you cannot ignore when you're building a business. As you grow as a leader, as your organization grows, as you become the leader that God has called you to be, you have to be aware of the biggest pitfall of all leaders, myself included. I have been a victim into this. You know what this is? It's ego. And I have lots of experiences. I have lots of failures already. And if I look at those failures, it's because of my ego. And so in Philippians 2 verse 3, God is reminding us, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather in humility and value others above yourselves. Oh my God, I wish I have known this before. Humility isn't just a mindset. In 1 Peter 5 verse 2, the Bible is reminding us, be shepherds of God's flock, not lording it over those entrusted to you. This is another thing. People always refer to me as the boss, very bossy. I am lording over them. Instead of me being the shepherd, I become the boss. You are the pace setter. You set the culture of your organization. You set the culture of your team. If you are hardworking, your team will be hardworking. If you are compassionate, your team will be compassionate. If you are helpful, if you are selfless, your team will be like that as well. No leader has not experienced any challenges. In fact, that's how real leaders are being tested. And so, it's very important that to survive those difficult moments, you need to be able to work with other leaders as well. In Proverbs 11:14, David is reminding us that lack of guidance is the reason why nation falls. But victory is won through many advisors. So which means you need to have a mentor. You need to find somebody who knows what he's doing. I wouldn't realize my pitfalls as a leader if I had not seek advice, if I had not surrounded myself with people who are better than me, who are more mature than me, who are ahead of me, who are making more money than me, who are more successful than me. So that is crucial. Even if you are in the best organization, there will still be moments wherein you will be hit by crisis. Coronavirus, all this crisis, and this is where you will be needing the final key. You need to have the courage to finish. And in Joshua 1 verse 9, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. And do not be afraid is one of the most repeated phrases and statements in the Bible. So you have to be courageous despite of all the uncertainties that's happening in the world. Leadership is courage. Leadership is the courage to keep going even when everyone else wants to quit. It's the courage to stand up when you are down. It's the courage to get back up when you're falling down. Leadership is a journey and it doesn't stop. It never stops. As long as you're alive, you're always in the journey of becoming the best leader, is becoming the best servant, of discovering the best you, the best leader that God has intended you to become. If you want to master leadership principles and real world applications from the greatest leaders in the world, make sure to follow and subscribe. See you on my next video.